So how's it going, my comic chat army? We're here today with Jason Douglas, the creator of Parallel. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me. It's always fantastic to be hanging out with you, and it's an honor to be back.
Yeah, it's been a little while in between interviews.
It has been.
What have you been doing in between the two?
Oh, good Lord. All kinds of stuff. So the last time we talked was, we were still in the middle of the process of like the first print of Parallel, my very first comic that I wrote and got published by SourcePoint Press. And we were kind of in the middle of that push to, after it flopped upon release, because it flopped right into the world of the world shutting down into a pandemic. And then about 18 months later, it ended up selling out because I went on 75 shows, yours being one of them. And, here and there, the word kind of started to spread, and it garnered a little bit of reputation, and the book sold out and garnered 2 Ringo Award nominations, one for Best Writer and one for Best Single Issue or Story. And I got to go to the award show, and that was kind of amazing. And then SourcePoint, with that kind of atypical success, decided we should do a special edition of it, and which is kind of what we're here to talk about today. But other than that, living life, teaching full time and raising 3 kids, and actually kind of the order of the way things were supposed to come out into the world kind of got derailed, because my next project, Jane American, which is also very near and dear to my heart, was supposed to be a Kickstarter this past August. And instead, and this is like people who follow me on Instagram know all about this because I was very open and sharing. But instead of doing a Kickstarter in August, I got colon cancer instead, a very surprise diagnosis, and had surgery and recovery, and gotten a clinical trial, and I'm doing pretty good right now. But that kind of like flip-flop thing. So instead of doing that Kickstarter then and the Parallel Special Edition probably later in 2023, it's in previews right now, and it's literally, I'm super excited about it because SourcePoint's idea to do a special edition, but I basically got to curate the whole thing. And we're talking about 50 bonus pages on top of the award-winning book, or award-nominated book. I didn't win any awards. I lost to the dude who writes Batman for both awards, which was fine. Anyway, 50 bonus pages, right, of the classic tale that some people familiar with this show already know about. The dark sci-fi twisted tale that begs the question of you, the reader: what price would you pay for a second chance at all the dreams you thought you left behind forever? And we are talking about an afterwards by me that kind of takes you through the creative process and the story of the creation of the book, and annotated script pages and annotated concept art and rough pencils, a wicked cover gallery collecting all those fantastic variants. You were showing me the kind of the promotional picture for the last time that we did the show together, and one of those, that awesome Donnie Darko variant, which you can't find anywhere. I think sold out in 24 hours. That picture that you used, that cover gallery in there. And then my favorite part, my absolute favorite part, even though I was adamant for 2 years that there was no more Parallel to tell, right? Beginning, middle, and end story that you can revisit. You get your bang for the buck because it's really rereadable, or so I'm told. Landon's story ends at the end there, and you get to decide, and you got some ambiguity, but there isn't a tomorrow that a tale that I wanted to tell. And yet I found a way, and I got very excited about this. There is a brand new 10-page story that dives back into the world of Parallel, and I'm calling it, maybe I'm coining a phrase here, maybe somebody said this before, but I'm calling it a between the panels story, which kind of reminds me of how in Marvel Comics you get those in the 80s and the 90s, you get those editor's notes about some big event happening between these pages or between these panels. And it kind of dives back in, and there's these 2-page vignettes where you get to see the continuation and a bit of a deeper dive character study of some of the characters that you love from the book, about what happens in between this scene and that scene. And I think it really enriches the story and allows you to hang out with those people that you like a little bit longer and get a little more depth and detail on who they are and how it leads to that really dark second half of the book. So this thing is in store, or it's available for pre-order right now, and I'm super, super excited about it.
Through Diamond, Lunar?
Yeah, everything. So yeah. Okay. Like I was showing you earlier. This is so, being a first-time creator and having been a comic book fan exponentially longer than I've been a comic book creator. And coming to it so relatively late in life for the first time experience, like, it's a dream every single step of the way, right? For all the ups and downs, for how hard and how long indie comics take to produce and put out in the world, I still got all these moments over the last 3 years of oh my God, here comes a piece of art that I wrote, right? There's letters, there's letters in a word balloon on a page that used to be just in my head, and oh my God, there's my first variant cover and stuff like that. And then the first time in previews, the first time around, for the first print of the book, and then I was just showing you this before. I go and open a copy of previews for January, and it's a full page spread. It's this beautiful new cover, and so just kind of blown away by that. But yeah. Diamond order code JN for January, JN 231872. So you hit any LCS, you go in there. You can order it directly on the Diamond website. You just have to have an account, which is just one of those, it's almost like signing up for a newsletter. No big deal. And then you can click your LCS and they'll ship it there. So no shipping. A lot of shops are carrying it. It's actually available at sourcepointpress.com as well, and they'll ship it to you. And then very, very excited, you can also get it on Amazon. You can also get it at Barnes & Noble. Basically any bookseller's website that Simon & Schuster has got contract with, you can pick it up there as well. So yeah, it's even more widely available than that first print was. So I'm really excited about that too.
That's awesome. Are you planning on doing any signings this year?
Yeah, so I'm starting to book those right now. I'm doing something on Free Comic Book Day. I know I've got a couple that are not set in stone, 2 or 3 that are going to be happening over the summer. And then I'm going to be working on con schedule as well. But if that's something anybody was interested in, I'm not very full right now. I've been going crazy the last month with the interview schedule, and that I'll tell you has been nuts, because it's one of those things where, on the one hand, I want to do as many shows as I can because I had so much fun. The first run of the book, we were talking about this off air. I ended up doing 75 interviews because I didn't know better. I didn't know that's not necessarily how you normally do it, but I ended up having such a blast. It kind of, when the world was shut down, that was my pipeline to talk to people, because I think the thing that I was most excited about as a first-time creator was getting to cons and meeting people, and that didn't happen for 2 years, So the talking to people on shows and making connections there, and then they'd come and follow me on Instagram, and we would interact and chat the same way that you would form a relationship at a show, was kind of this really wonderful lifeline into the community. And so I've been kind of doing the same thing, but on a smaller scale and more tightly packed together over the last handful of weeks, because final order cutoff for the book is February 20th, and it dropped it onto Previews World, onto the Diamond website, around Christmas, really. And so I've been doing I got 22 interviews lined up, and it's been nuts because it's okay, no, can't do that. Interview booked. I got 3 interviews booked that day. I've got 150 8th graders essays I got to grade, and 3 kids to get to their events and stuff like that. So that's been nuts. But as far as signings go, as far as cons go, that's really just starting to form right now. So somebody was interested, they wanted me to come to the shop, or are interested to get SourcePoint to hit that con and bring me with them. Hit me up on Instagram, and that's what is my Instagram handle? It's my only social, because I'm a public school teacher. You don't do a lot of socials or you'll get fired. You gotta be careful. At J Douglas Writes. And it's very easy to find me because the picture that comes out is me doing a very superhero pose in my hospital gown with an IV strapped to me at the hospital the day after colon cancer surgery, when I'm out walking about, trying to be a superhero and win recovery. So you can find me on that and hit me up and we'll chat. And you can tell just because of how I'm talking a mile a minute, because I'm back in it again, because there was a chunk of downtime in between where I'm working on stuff. I was never not writing a piece of Jane American, which is going to be a Kickstarter in May. I was never not curating something for Parallel. I've always been still busy on comics, but behind the scenes, right? once the book sold out, once Baltimore was done, it was kind of back to now I'm just a dude in the basement typing away while my family is busy not being impressed with my comic book career upstairs. But this has like really been fun, kind of being back in the thick of it again.
So, are you cancer free?
Yeah, right now. In fact, I got really good news yesterday on my most recent blood test with my oncologist, and the surgery went really, really well. And then the clinical trial that I entered, did this really kind of cool blood test that kind of proved that the circulating tumor DNA is not in my system. So that's not to say that there can't be complications down the road that isn't to say that something else can't come and get you, which is why it's really important to always go and get tested when your doctor recommends it. But as far as the colon cancer that was trying to get me and was doing a pretty good job of it for a little while there, that is gone. So that's exciting news as well.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's talk about this Kickstarter in May. What's the book about?
So Jane American is... it's got some similarities to Parallel in the fact that, Parallel's this dark sci-fi twisted tale, right? And that's the comic book wrapping paper that I put around, because I'm a comic book nerd, around the deeper themes, the more universal themes of dreams deferred and time passing, the existential dread or depression or need for professional mental that comes with what we all go through when we deal with the fact that there's only so much time. And Jane American does something similar. Because I'm a comic book nerd, it's got a really nice comic book, almost tropey wrapping paper around it that I'm not going to give away right here, only because the one shot, the Kickstarter, ends on a wicked cool cliffhanger that if that doesn't motivate you to say, I want some more of this, I don't know what will. But it's a really cool comic book premise that is wrapping around the deeper, more universal themes about identity and race and gender and self-worth and the self-fulfillment of being who you are. Because Jane is a 15-year-old protagonist in a post-World War II, 1946 small-town story. Okay, so Rosie the Riveters have been sent back home. The troops are back home in the factories, and Jane goes out seeking this job with the ability to do it, but as a 15-year-old female, not necessarily the societal strictures that would allow her to do something that could keep her family going. And it's very personal to me because it's very much inspired by my late grandmother and certain things that she was kind of forced into identity-wise when she was Jane's age and a little bit older, back around the same time period. And then it's very much dedicated to all the students who have gone through my classroom the last 2 decades, especially the young ladies and non-binary people who are still struggling even in the 21st century to fulfill who it is that they know who they are, and maybe their school or their family or their friends or society in general says, no, that's not who you are. You need to be this. And you extrapolate that back to the 1940s when those kind of pressures were even more intense, and you can imagine the pressure that Jane is under, even with in her heart, she knows what she needs to do and she knows what she needs to be, and everybody else is telling her, So I'm really, really fired up about that. There's a lot of personal family history, and I got to do a lot of really cool historical research on it. And I'm doing my very first Kickstarter in May to get the one-shot funded.
Nice. I think we're going to pick it up. So let me know when we can get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. First Kickstarter. Is SourcePoint going to pick it up after the Kickstarter?
I mean, that's the plan. Yeah. I mean, I've got to that's honestly at this point in time, that's actually even looking one step beyond what I'm even ready to think about, because in the same way, I mean, I understand that the first print of Parallel was such an atypical experience about how comics are made in the 21st century, right? Like, you don't go to a convention and pitch a paper script and it gets made and they hold your hand the whole way. But I did, lightning in a bottle. I am very thankful for it, but it's never going to happen again that way. So I'm back to kind of square one as far as producing it and getting it into the world, because now I'm going to do the thing that most of us in indie comics have to do. It's just my second project, but the first time I've got to do this. But yeah, the plan would be we do the Kickstarter. I just got confirmation. So you're gonna get half of breaking news right here. I just got confirmation yesterday that the rather large named cover artist, hoping editor and I got, actually who's the co-writer of Good Boy, that that person has confirmed, and they are going to do our exclusive cover for the Kickstarter. So that's a really, really big deal. And my artist right now is working on like the 5 teaser pages, and they're looking really good. And so it's coming along, and I'm really, really excited. But yeah, the plan, to answer your question, the plan is, once that exclusive cover goes out there for all the backers, right, and whatever the stretch goals and the cool bonuses, things that we'll have for different levels of support, that it'll be back in previews as a Source Point Press book, and then after that we got a 120-page original graphic novel that tells the whole story coming after that.
Awesome. So the time of the Kickstarter, will it be ready to just print and distribute to the backers?
Well, no. So like we'll run it in May, and we'll get the backing, and then my artist will get right to work. The cover will be done, several pages will be done, and then it'll be just a matter of like putting it together. So it'll be that same kind of normal Kickstarter thing. Like the idea is, the stuff that exists that you'll see on the Kickstarter is what I fronted, right? That's you and I were talking about this off the air. Like that's the money that I'm putting forward to get it to that point, and then the Kickstarter funds the rest. Finish the art process, finish the production process, and off to the backers. Yeah, right. So I mean, that's you and I were talking about this. That's like, indie comics is not big business. Indie comics is a lot of passion, right? It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of like small, almost like family-run businesses keeping together through your hard-earned dollars, supporting our stories and our efforts to keep things up and running. And like I was telling you, every single penny that I made from that first run of Parallel went either to my family or directly to start the new project. Right? This is not, I'm, not that teaching is a fame-inducing or lucrative profession, but like that's my day job. Right? This is my absolute passion that I'm doing, not for fame or a fortune, but to basically keep doing it. Right? Like fund the next thing. So it's something I truly, truly care about, and something I really, really appreciate that anybody who supports, like your dollar that goes to indie comics of any company, like, man, that dollar goes so far. That dollar is, like I said, it's keeping companies together. It's keeping creators creating. It's literally putting food on table and clothes on backs.
Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah. Hey,
I know 20 minutes goes quick.
Yeah, I know. Well, I talk a lot too. That really makes.
I love it.
I mean, remember, my day job is like literally standing up in front of teenagers for 48 minutes, talking at a mile a minute to try to convince them that like grammar isn't boring. I've got to be good at the yappity yap yap yap, and then suddenly 48 minutes is gone. In this case, 20. Listen. Go out to your LCS, order Parallel Special Edition, right? JAN 23/1872. Hit up Barnes & Nobles, hit up Amazon, have them ship it to you. It really goes a long way. I truly appreciate it. Then go follow me. Go follow me on Instagram. It's my only social. J Douglas Writes, and hit me up. Ask me questions, whatever. I am the guy who lost to the guy who writes Batman for awards. I'm not the big time artist who's going to say, ignore your whatever. You reach out to me, I will talk your ear off. We will talk comics all day long. Remember, I've been a comic book nerd a lot longer than I've been a comic book creator. So I appreciate the time, and any support that anybody's got for me in May or now is much appreciated. And come and see me at a signing, come and see me at a con, and we'll hang out.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.